Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Hey everybody, Tuesday isn't usually a podcast day for DannyClinkscale.com. It's the day after Monday Musings, but Monday Musings had to be adjusted on Monday, and this is no ordinary Tuesday because Tuesday comes after the Monday that Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year contract extension that has everybody in Kansas City giddy, and they should be giddy. While this is no big surprise, and I'll get into that after our first time out, Kansas City fans were running around shouting 10 years and looking at their children and realizing that Patrick Mahomes is likely to be with the team when they're all grown up and all these different type of things. But we kind of knew that anyway. But when you hear 10 years and there are other quarterbacks out there negotiating for 3 years in the short term, it does create that kind of certainty, although obviously NFL contracts have an incredible amount of vagaries. This contract is structured in a way that if Patrick Mahomes is even a reasonably close version of himself over this decade, then the money is almost certainly guaranteed because they guarantee the next year's salary almost a year before, and it'd be very difficult to cut him. You can read a lot of different breakdowns of the contract and make your eyes bleed if you like to do that, but it's not the specifics right now that are making Kansas City fans happy. It is merely the fact that Patrick Mahomes will be a Chief for a long, long time, and he's making a whole lot of money, and everybody's happy for him, and that's a really good thing. And there's so many good things in this particular story, even to the point of the fact that the person who actually broke the story on Twitter was an employee at a liquor store. It doesn't get much better than that. So this is a happy Tuesday and a good reason to give you a little bonus podcast right here. My friends at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture are among the most accomplished and trusted clinics in the nation. Only one clinic has been rated in the top 5 in all 3 categories of chiropractic care, acupuncture, and rehabilitation, and that clinic is ASFCA. They have locations in Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, Belton, and Lee Summit. Doctors Brad and Christina Woodle and their accomplished team of doctors and therapists will treat you like family, for the simplest of injuries to the most complicated conditions to avoid surgery. Whether you are seeking treatment for an injury or just looking to stay healthy and fit, this is the place for you. And it's been the place for me for almost 2 years now. I've been a strenuous daily exerciser for years, and as time goes on, that takes its toll. But regular appointments at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture have helped keep me ticking on, and even as the years pile up, their regular care has allowed me to keep to my regimen and feel great. If you want to feel the same, give them a call or visit them at asfca.com/Danny. They accept all insurances and are open Monday through Saturday, and make sure to mention that Danny Clinkscale recommended Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, and let's set the scene going into yesterday. Nobody really thought that Patrick Mahomes was going to sign a contract yesterday. In fact, if I thought he was going to sign a contract or agree to terms of a contract in the afternoon, I wouldn't have recorded a podcast in the morning. But the news broke early in the afternoon, first, sort of, on Twitter by a liquor store employee who the Chiefs executives were coming in to buy 6 bottles of Dom Perignon and indicated that Chris Jones wasn't signing a new contract and that somebody else was. And I don't think they're going to buy 6 bottles of Dom Perignon because Tyreek Hill was going to sign an extension, even if that would be a really exciting thing. Maybe they would. I don't know. But certainly Patrick Mahomes is Dom Perignon worthy. And, of course, going into this, while we weren't certain that Patrick Mahomes was going to sign before this season, there were all kinds of indications. Both sides seemed to want to do that. Everything that Patrick Mahomes has done every single step of the way, and everything the Chiefs have done in regards to Patrick Mahomes every step of the way, has been just about perfect. He came into the league. He didn't have to play right away. He learned under a true professional in Alex Smith. No pressure on him. Alex Smith puts up a great season in the last season that he is there, but certainly everybody was looking forward to having Patrick Mahomes, and his first year exploded. And nobody really could have thought that Patrick Mahomes was going to be that Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs executives thought maybe he was the best player they ever saw. They can say that now. Whether they believed it or not doesn't really matter. But even they couldn't have anticipated a player who was going to go out and throw for 50-plus touchdowns, be the league MVP, and then also get a learning lesson at the end of that, a motivational loss to the New England Patriots in the AFC title game after getting basically shut down completely in the first half and then going electric in the second half but falling short in a wildly entertaining game. But not that wildly entertaining for Chiefs fans who were waiting for 50 years to win a Super Bowl, which, of course, they did last year. And even last year's season provided some challenges for Patrick Mahomes and maybe some real incentives for him to sign this contract now, because he did have to go through injury, an injury that looked far more severe when it happened. But in the end, the season resulted in 3 stunning playoff games and playoff performances and comebacks and overcoming adversity, and for Patrick Mahomes eventually becoming the Super Bowl MVP after becoming the league MVP in his first year. He hasn't even turned 25 years of age. So there's the scene being set, and we all knew that at some point in time Patrick Mahomes was going to sign a long-term contract, and in all likelihood, barring injury, every single quarterback who even approaches this level plays with one franchise for a long, long time, be it Peyton Manning with the Colts and Tom Brady with the Patriots, even though eventually those two players moved on late in their career. Drew Brees has been with the Saints forever. Yes, he started his career with the San Diego Chargers. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has been with the Packers for a long, long time. Maybe that, too, will be a situation where he plays out the last couple of years of his career somewhere else. But great quarterbacks stay put. That's just the way the National Football League works. And so there was no real curiosity or angst as far as that whether Patrick Mahomes was going to sign. But I think it was just the 10 years, the decade, a 10-year extension on top of 2 years still remaining that had everybody extra excited, maybe more excited than even they should have been. I'm not going to tell people how excited they should get. This is a time where we haven't had a lot of excitement. It sort of, however, was the equivalent of walking outside and seeing that the sun had risen and exulting to the skies. And millions around the country really did it. And I think the other part that's fun for Kansas City fans is seeing the reaction of people to Patrick Mahomes' contract, as they seem genuinely happy about a player getting all this money. Usually there's some shred of a little bit of buyer's remorse, or is this too long? When Mike Trout signed his contract, which still is the best contract in professional sports because it's completely and totally guaranteed, but the dollar amount by Patrick Mahomes outstrips it, and I think fans were really just happy to see that, happy to see the numbers, happy to see the length of contract. And while this contract, in all likelihood, won't be played out as it is structured right now, it certainly could with the mechanisms in it, and we'll see if that particular aspect of it plays out. But it was giddiness on Monday, a little bit of soaking in here on Tuesday, but I think still a party atmosphere. I'll talk about that a little bit more coming up.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner, and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that, and moving on in age as we all are. What do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. They just contacted me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back to our Mahomes Mania mini-pod, and certainly when big events happen, are they added podcast worthy? Well, in this case, certainly it was. I have a regular structure of podcasts here at dannyclinkscale.com. Mondays, generally sports. Wednesdays, arts and lifestyle. Fridays are personality profiles. But when something like this happens, hey, you break the mold a little bit. And breaking the mold was this contract. There are some things in it that are different. The guarantee aspects of it certainly is not like a baseball contract. There are ways to opt out of certain parts of the deal, but each year as it escalates along, the guarantee of the following year's salary has to come basically over a year before that season is played, and that structure makes it possible that Patrick Mahomes could play his entire he could play himself through this entire contract. Maybe a little more likely than not. But given the fact that NFL contracts and NFL economics change so much, it's probably likely that maybe 5 years in, maybe when quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson and Jared Goff and people like that are coming up for their contract renewals, and maybe by then the league's economic stability after the coronavirus, and we hope we can say the words after the coronavirus sometime, will have the NFL back on the kind of economic footing that seemingly was inevitable before the pandemic struck. So that could be a situation where maybe somebody signs for $55 million, and Patrick Mahomes is not going to sit around, and the Chiefs are not going to sit around having him not be the highest paid quarterback in football, because in all likelihood, again, always saying barring injury, and generally great quarterbacks don't suffer horrendous injuries, Andrew Luck the exception in our generation, then you have a situation where he likely will be the top quarterback and will want top quarterback money, and he certainly didn't settle for any kind of hometown discount this time around. So one would think that maybe this contract will be revisited in 2025, maybe later than that. Who's to say? Maybe never, because of what I talked about before. But I think the general tone and aspect of this whole thing is that people are incredibly happy. Chiefs fans went so long so long without being able to experience, well, for a while, any playoff success. Then they had a little bit of playoff success, and then finally it encapsulated in the first Super Bowl championship in 50 years, seemingly kind of poetic justice that they played in won their Super Bowl in Super Bowl 4 and then won the next one in Super Bowl 54 and even 50 years apart. You would never want to have that span, but if you're going to have the span and you can do it on an even number like that, it sort of rings differently. The calls can be made like that for the first time in 50 years, etc. So just this sense of having the greatest player, and not just the greatest player, someone who is checking off every box that is possible as far as a National Football League quarterback and a citizen of Kansas City. It almost seems like somehow, inevitably, there's got to be a slip-up in Patrick Mahomes' holster sometime, but so far he has been really perfect every step of the way. And even in a situation where it seemed like maybe he wouldn't be the type of person who would get involved so quickly and adroitly in the Black Lives Matter situation, because he has not been a controversial or political person in the past. It seemed like maybe he was taking the Michael Jordan route of thinking of keeping things simple and not getting involved in volatile issues. He did not decide to go down that route and immediately got involved with the video that the National Football League put out. He goes around town and shows up at sporting events and wears the jerseys of other teams and has a charity and he's on all the commercials and he has the smiling face and he has the haircut that people emulate. I mean, it has just been seamless and perfect to this day, and this day concluded for the time being on Monday with an incredible contract that has smiles on the faces of Kansas City people, not just here in Kansas City, but Kansas City fans and really NFL fans all across the board. Patrick Mahomes, really, sounds kind of dumb, but he doesn't need $40 million a year in salary. I mean, he's going to make so much money outside of football that this is really almost going to be superfluous. And we have gotten to the point in professional sports where the dollars are so huge that it is almost like monopoly money. And I don't know if Milton Bradley has printed that much monopoly money in the entire history of Monopoly. But it is a day to celebrate. Is it a day to celebrate something that we knew we were going to be able to celebrate? Yeah. Absolutely. But in times like this where people really want to grasp onto good news, just the smile on the face of Kansas City in total is a thing that puts a smile on my face and should put a smile on everybody's face in a time when we can use smiles. Yes, it's sports, but we've seen that we've had it taken away from us and still may have it taken away from us. Heck, we don't even know if for certain that Patrick Mahomes is going to play the first of these 12 years he is still under contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. But we do know that if NFL football is played, Patrick Mahomes, at least for the time being, will play it as the highest paid athlete in professional sports, and that is a fun thing.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.